Well, I hope everybody had a good Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. So, it has been a real long time since I've even picked this camera up. And you know, a whole holiday season, I just wanted to have some time to be with my family and not be thinking that I needed to do something extra. So, I just didn't even think about it. But today is the 2nd of January, and we've got lots of things that we have just kind of put off, and not really put off because it's not that we've just been lazy. We just can't find the time to get everything done that we need to get done. And so today we've got a day that Josh is off work, I'm off of work from school, Maddie had something she needed to do, so Lucy's at a daycare, and so today I've got a little bit of time and reached out to my buddy and am borrowing his little Traco. So this little mini excavator, and when I say mini, it is mini. I mean, if you look at it beside me, it's small. But we got this probably, I don't know, it was probably 6 years ago, maybe 7. I brought it up here, and Dad and I were able to put in this ditch going up through here. Well, since then, it's grown up. At one point, right after we did the soil and water stuff, it had gotten real cleaned out and was good up until where I'm backing out of the barn over here to go get grain. In that little area, it's terrible. The water's just kind of going everywhere. So I'm going to try to fix that. We're going to try to tackle this nastiness down through the middle of the yard. We're going to try and fix this area right in here that stays wet. The driveway's got giant holes in it still that were washed out from the hurricane, because right here in the middle of this road, the river was here, and you can kind of tell from looking from here how much higher the grass is than the road. It washed probably 2 feet out of the road in the middle section there, but right over in, let me get a little bit closer so you can see a little better maybe. Right in this area here, there's a giant hump, and right in here there's a giant hole. So I'm going to try and take out that hump and kind of smooth this out a little bit. I don't know how much of this in the road that I'll be able to do. Last time I used this machine, it didn't like digging through the gravel road. It did just perfectly fine, you know, digging through dirt everywhere else, but going through a gravel road that was packed and hard just wasn't quite what it needed. So I don't know how much of that I'll be able to do, but I'm going to try and drop the little blade on the front here and see if I can't maybe scrape some of that over. We'll see. There's a bunch of ditching out where the cows are at that needs to be done, but all of this can't happen in one day. So we're going to start with one thing in mind and just go from there. It sounds like we get to keep this thing for just a little while. Fingers crossed that stays that way, because there's more that needs to be done out here in front of the 2 barns that we get hay out of. After the hurricane, when we had to get all of that hay out of the barn, we brought out so much nasty mess with us. Mud from that had washed in, rotten hay, all sorts of stuff. And in the smaller barn where we've been getting hay from, which it's empty now, by the way, that smaller barn, it had a huge pile of just junk in front of the doorway that was, like what I just said, a muddy, nasty mess. And then the other one, we had a guy come with a little tiny skid steer and went back in there and scraped out all of the mud and nastiness that had washed in the big barn there. We had him scrape all that out, and it made a huge area. Literally, it's just manure, pretty much. And it's just a muddy, nasty mess. So I want to try and get all of that out of there and then get us a load of fill dirt over here and pack that in there real nice, or maybe some rock or something. But lots of things to do. But we're going to start small and go ahead and get this thing cranking. Here we go. I got that the best I could. I didn't get it perfect, but I got it at least partially flat, I should say. There's one big hump that's gone now, and one big hole that's gone. There's still plenty of other humps and plenty of other holes, but for right now, that's just going to have to do. So right over here, sorry you're kind of turned sideways, this is a landscape rake that we borrowed not too awful long ago. Well, last winter we used it. I need to get it moved out of the way because I got to connect this ditch coming down through here. I got to connect that right in here. And used to, before the hurricane, we had a nice cutout in there, and the water would run perfectly down through here and run right in that ditch. But after the hurricane, this ditch that was probably 4 foot deep, it had about 6 foot of sand in it. So we got that all cleared out, but this section right in here in the yard never got fixed. So I'm going to try, and I might be able to just pick it up with this thing. Maybe. There's a chain right here. Let's just see. I don't know if this little thing will pick it up or not. It's not that extremely heavy, but it does have some weight to it for sure. I don't know if that little machine will do it or not, though. We'll pull it over here and see. We'll see what happens. Well, I'm at least going to be able to move it out of my way. We're just going to do a little raking on our way, I suppose.
Hey guys, so we're starting to clean this ditch here out. I think Preston was talking to you about ditching a little earlier. This is some of the issues we're having. Water stands right here, and it used to be an old culvert, we think, right down here in this area. We're not wanting to dig it up because we don't know how big of a culvert it is and how deep it goes. We've got one of our new water lines for our project for our drinkers, and the water line runs down right underneath this right here. We're thinking the water line's around 2 feet, 2.5 feet deep, so we're just skimming the top here to try to get this right here to drain all down through this new ditch line right here. You can see behind Preston on the machine where the ditch line goes. It goes all the way down next to the gate down here. And then we're going to be working on this other ditch that runs up through here between the barns and the sheds right here. So we just got to be super careful right here to not dig too deep. We're going to tie this new ditch in with this low line area. We've been, in the past, what we would do when it gets real muddy and nasty right through here, we would take our tractor and start with one side of our tires like right in there, and then run it all the way down through to the gate. And that would drain for a decent little while. But we're just trying to make it drain a little more efficiently. It's real wet right down in here still, so we gotta be careful not get the excavator stuck right here. You can see on the side, I think, the water pooling up. One of our good friends, shout out to him, Andrew. He let us borrow this machine here to do some digging here. So thank uh, thank Andrew for that. I'm gonna set you guys up here and see if we can maybe do a time lapse. Well, we're making progress here, trying to get this ditch opened up a little. I believe we're going to have to use the machine or our scrape blade on our tractors. Come in here on the sides and scoop that out a little bit so everything could fall down. All the water can fall down into the ditch. But I think it's turning out pretty good here. We got a little bit of water right here seeping out of the ground into the ditch. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it is trickling out of the ground. This is a farm that has lots of wet springs called ephemeral springs. If you look it up, it's a wet weather spring. Like all in these hollers that you see, there's springs that pop up everywhere when it's wet. Like in the wintertime, they dry up a lot in the summer. But here in the wintertime, like right out here in this winter pasture, and we cut the hay on in during the summer. But we have three, I believe, 2 or 3 springs that comes out in that field over there. So we're just trying to make it better. We're going to tie this ditch down and see how bad it is right here and wet. If we open it all the way up, come let it drain down here, we got a nice about 16-inch diameter culvert that runs across the road right here. If you remember in some past videos, right after the hurricane, this was all covered up with dirt and gravel that's washed out from the river. But there's a culvert right here and it runs underneath the road. It goes in this big ditch line here and on out to the river. And then when, this is the other ditch I was saying earlier that we're wanting to fix. It runs up through here all the way up to the old spring box. Forget it ditched out. Hopefully it'll start draining. We'll see what we can do. We'll keep working at it. Trying to help out in the shovel with one hand. It's hard to do. Woo. All that ice is in there. It's been so cold this past week. It down in the low teens at night. We had a lot of high winds too. Wind chill factor's been close to zero, negative overnight. It's been some winter weather coming. We'll see how this starts to drain once we get another snowstorm or some more rain. I think tomorrow's Saturday, and I think they're calling for some more rain. I don't know how much. We'll definitely see if this ditch starts draining better after we get that rain. So we'll see. Seems like it's wanting to work a little right now. It's draining downhill. See if I can fix this little bit right here out. Starting to drain on downhill. It didn't help us that we ran over through this with the tractor while it was frozen, or at least half frozen. The tractor tires and the weight of the tractor and the bale on the front, it pretty heavy. You can tell where we drove up through there. I think in the future we're going to buy us about like a 16-foot long culvert by 12, 14, maybe 16-inch diameter culvert and put right through here so we can drive over it, and the water in the ditch will drain underneath the culvert. Just make it a little easier for us instead of having to drive all the way around the side of the house. I think a culvert right here will do us good. Be about our tractors, or our two bigger cab tractors, are about 7.5 feet wide, and a cattle trailer and stuff like that is 7.5 feet wide or so. So I think about a good 16-foot culvert right through here will give us enough room to drive over it. I'll get off here for just a little bit, and I'll pick up when we get down around this bend right here.
Well, we made some pretty decent progress, but we wanted to stop and see what the water would do, so we took the water hose and ran it down the ditch and turned it on and let some water run down through the ditch, and we found a few places we got to go knock back down. But then turned around, and as we were letting that water run, looked back over at the little excavator, and it was overheating and steam was coming out. So we're going to let it sit and cool off a minute and go ahead and feed, get that taken care of, and then we'll get back to it. So I got the grain in here, and Josh is going to take a bale of hay out there, and this won't take too awful long. That's the best looking stuff we've fed all winter.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
A lot of that stuff that we fed from the other barn was moldy. Did you notice it?
Yeah, it was pretty moldy. I would wake up the next day, call something and gag it.
Yeah, that's some of that we pushed and baled too soon. It's still a little green. Well, we made some progress, sort of. We got water all the way to right here, which is, we've got about 5 more feet or so to get to the ditch. But earlier, we decided we were going to go get the water hose and put it in the ditch up here and turn on the water and see where water was starting to pool up. And we heard a little squealing noise coming from the little excavator here, and came down and kept digging a little bit when we were watching where that water was stopping, and all of a sudden it started overheating. You know, what the heck? So we turned it off, went and fed, and then whenever I came back from feeding, turned it on again, it overheated again. So I thought, what the heck? I'll look at it, flipped over the cab on it, and we blew a belt for the fan on the radiator. So we had to stop where we're at. We've got a heck of a muddy mess, what it looks like from here, but Josh scooped out all the stuff that we dug up and got it all smoothed out the best we can since it's so muddy. And the next couple days we'll get some grass seed and straw thrown on it, just so it's not bare dirt and looking so crappy for the next little bit. But it's at least a step in the right direction. So we'll work on it again tomorrow and some the next day. But this section back here behind the barn that we were talking about doing, we might try to work on tomorrow, but there's a very, very good chance that we're going to get it stuck. So need to make sure there's 2 of us here for that. But regardless, appreciate you watching. We'll do something on the next one, hopefully productive. We've got a lot of things to get done this year that we've put off, and not really put off. Like I said at the beginning, we just didn't have time to get them done. There's just too many other things going on. But that, between the ditching and getting that lot done, if we could get that finished before spring, that would be great. We'll see you on the next one.